Dabo Swinney and the Clemson Tigers are making waves in recruiting. What has the last 48 hours been? Nothing but dominant. We'll discuss it next on the Locked On Clemson podcast.
You are Locked On Clemson, your daily podcast on the Clemson Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Clemson Tiger fans? Welcome back to the Locked On Clemson podcast, your daily podcast covering your Clemson Tigers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your boy, Damian Parson, always on the ones and twos. You can find me on Twitter at DP_NFL. I'm a national scout over with the Draft Network, as well as one of the co-hosts of the Locked On NFL Draft podcast. And Tiger fans, get them claws, get them paws up, man. We have a big show moving on up. You know, in the last 48 hours, we're going to talk about what the last 48 hours have looked like for Clemson because they've been on the prowl looking at recruits and getting some big time commits. We also are going to talk about what the result of that was and where they have gone from 11 to 4 to the fourth spot in recruiting right now, as well as looking ahead at the offensive tackle, the top offensive tackle right now of the 2025 recruiting class. But before we get into all of that, guys, listen up. Today's episode is brought to you by Birddogs. Go to birddogs.com/LockedOnCollege. And when you enter the promo code LockedOnCollege, they'll throw in a free custom Birddogs Yeti style tumbler with every single order. Family, listen to me. What have the Tigers been in the last 48 hours of recruiting? Nothing shy of dominant. When you look at what they were able to do, and the recruits that they were able to bring in and sign. I mean, just look at the names, right? Starting off with, anyway, I talked about them on Monday's episode, guys, which you guys have shown a lot of love to. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for being my everydayers and making Locked On Clemson Tigers your first listen today and every day. But Sammy Brown, the 5-star linebacker out of Georgia, right? Going on also in the last 48 hours, getting Sammy Brown, but then getting TJ Moore, wide receiver out of Florida, 4-star recruit, ranked number 22nd, like top 30 in his position at wide receiver, 6'2", 180. And then today, getting Bryant Wesco, another 4-star receiver. He's ranked number 9 nationally at his position, and he's like a top 35 player in the nation per one.com, 6'2", 170. And it's amazing when you look at the fact that up until now, you know what I mean? Like one.com has Bryant Wesco as a 4-star recruit, but I think everywhere else I've seen him has him listed as a 5-star recruit. So man, you gotta show the love. You gotta give as much credit to Dabo and this staff as possible, guys. You have to. And I'm telling you, what I love about what they've done. Think about it. I want to paint this picture for you guys, right? For a guy like Brian Wesco, he said he found his place to call home. Talking, that was his dad, his senior, Brian Wesco Senior. That's what his dad said. And they're from Texas. Clemson going to go and grab and get this commit from Texas. Listen to who he also strongly considered in terms of Bryant Wesco: TCU, LSU, Oklahoma, and USC. So when you think about what Clemson has done in the last 48 hours in terms of getting Sammy Brown, you pluck Sammy Brown from Georgia and you knocked off the Georgia Bulldogs. That's big time. That's big time. To take an in-state kid and he sees his in-state team, the Georgia Bulldogs, win back-to-back national titles. And still yet he said, I'd rather go play for Dabo than Kirby right now. I'd rather commit to what they're doing and what they're building down in Death Valley. That's a big move, guys. That's a good look for this program, right? But it didn't stop there. Going and beating out Georgia, USC, right? USC is a high-octane offense that is for sure going to have NFL scouts at the facility, right? On the West Coast, scouts are going to go there. Period. Like, they have not just Caleb Williams, they're going to have a lot of 5-star quarterbacks walk through those doors. So, in Lincoln, as long as Lincoln Riley's there, listen, that offense is going to hum, baby. It's going to hum, and he knows how to recruit and how to get these big time quarterbacks. So, nonetheless, to turn down that opportunity, LSU, USC, TCU, Georgia, all these teams that they, these other schools that they were able to knock off. Then, like I said, to get TJ Moore as well out of Florida, like recruiting out of state is just as important, if not more important, than recruiting in state. Yes, you want to grab the in-state guys and get these 4 or 5 stars when they pop up within your state. But if you can dominate the recruiting cycle and go and grab guys and grab players from other states, that's big, because 1, you're going to weaken the class of your competitors. 2, you're going to strengthen your out-of-state class. And then also you got to think about the ramifications of that, of getting these guys and bringing them in and everything, man. And it's just, like I said, it's a big time right now. It's a big time. 2 5-stars, and Sammy Brown and Bryant Wesco. Depends on, of course, the recruiting site that you check out and that you look at. But yeah, I mean, even 24/7 Sports has Wesco as a 5-star recruit. They have TJ Moore as a 4-star. Last year as a junior, man. Just looking at the numbers here, Wesco had 58 receptions, 11 over almost 1,200 yards, 1,160 yards receiving, 17 touchdowns. 17 touchdowns, guys. Like, that's big. Well-rounded wide receiver type. He works the middle of the field. This is just a blurb from 24/7 Sports. Works the middle of the field, run after the catch, chunk play, stretches the field vertically. Tall, lankier build. He can add some mass. He's like 170 right now, so he absolutely can get bigger, guys. And he has another season of high school ball as well. And another part of the blurb, capable of creating late separation at the top of routes, able to reach another gear in those situations, seems to understand his angle and spacings when setting up defenders, and a creative run at the threat catch. And his dad is, I believe, is in the Hall of Fame of his school, if I remember correctly, in terms of track and field. His sister, his athleticism is in Bryant Wesco's family. His sister plays soccer at Oklahoma. His father is in the Louisiana Tech Athletics Hall of Fame as a triple jumper. And this young man also, if I'm not mistaken, he is also a long jumper. So, strong multi-sport profile with a 48-foot triple jump prowess, as well as impressive data in high jump and long jump events. Projects as a high major receiver prospect who should become an impact player for multiple years. This kid has all the physical tools. Getting a TJ Moore and getting another guy into the room and bringing him in there is big. Like I said, over the last 48 hours, 5-star Sammy Brown, linebacker, over in-state Georgia. Elite wide receiver prospect Bryant Wesco, top 20 nationally, right? 4-star wide receiver over in-state Florida. Big 48 hours for the Clemson Tigers in terms of recruiting. But again, guys, what does that recruiting mean? That means we're moving on up, baby. We're moving on up in the rankings, and we're going to get into that. I'm going to talk about it coming up next. Guys, trying to find shorts or pants that fit well, they're comfortable, flexible, and versatile is not easy. I can promise you that from personal experience. But let me introduce you to Birddogs. Birddogs will make you look good. They have khaki shorts that are stretchable due to the fabric that they're made from. They're designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and the leg, giving you a truly sculpted look. They fit way better and less restricting than the most regular shorts that are going to be in your closet, similar to mine. And they use an anti-stink and sweat fabric, wicking fabric that keeps you cool and dry all day long, as well as with the fabric they use, it's called a cloud knit fabric. It allows it to stretch and fit you better without sacrificing movement. And how can I help you? I can help you get a free gift tumbler. How so? By going to birddogs.com/LockedOnNFL and enter the promo code LockedOnNFL for a free Yeti-style tumbler for or with your next order. You won't want to take off your Birddogs, we promise you. Family, moving on up, the Clemson Tigers. Listen, last week, and I've been telling you guys, they've been ranking around 14 to 11 in recruiting for the 2024 national rankings, and they were second in the ACC, right? Not anymore, guys. They are now first in the ACC after getting, as I talked about in the first segment, Sammy Brown, Bryant Wesco, and TJ Moore in the last 48 hours. The last 48 hours. Incredible. Incredible. Shout out to Dabo Swinney and Mike Dooley, who's the director of player personnel. These guys are absolutely killing it. But think about this. The jump to move from the 11th spot nationally, move up 7 spots to the 4th spot. That is big time, guys. You gotta love that. You absolutely have to love that. And again, getting guys like Bryant Wesco, getting guys like Sammy Brown and TJ Moore, what does this do? It continues to create success and the reputation, the word of mouth, and it gives you the cachet. You know, the same way Nick Saban can flash his rings, Dabo Swinney can flash his too. You know, the way that Dabo Swinney can say we have we can be named as wide receiver. We've put in a Sammy Watkins, we put in DeAndre Hopkins, T. Higgins, Amari Rogers, Hunter Renfrows of the world, right? We put all these guys into the league. So when you're talking to these young wide receivers, you're letting them know, come into Death Valley. You are coming to a place where you will have success as a wide receiver, you know, and it's crazy because, you know, reading the quote, these guys, I'm telling you, a big part of getting, now I said this when I talked about Sammy Brown on Monday, getting him puts you in line to get more 5 stars. Because one thing that's big is, remember, these kids go to a lot of these off-season camp, these summer camps, you know, 7-on-7, all that type of stuff, and passing leagues and whatever. And yes, they compete against each other, but then they also talk and they chill with one another, and they create and form friendships and relationships. And it's like, you know what, man, bro, listen, come to Clemson. Now the kids are recruiting for Dabo Swinney. When you sign a big name recruit that has a following and a backing, he's going to have some pull in terms of other recruits. And like I said, this was just crazy because the turnaround time, TJ Moore, right? TJ Moore and Bryant Wesco took official visits to Death Valley last weekend. Now, taking those official visits, they turned right around with the quick turnaround and committed. Now, there's a quote from Sammy Brown. This 2024 class we are going to have might be one of the best classes in history. The domino effect has begun because of me committing. There's going to be others over the next couple days and weeks. This class is going to be really good. Guys, if you didn't get goosebumps off of that, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what to tell you guys. Listen, when you have a recruit that can tell you, listen to me, there's more coming. Like when a recruit can give you a prelude to Wesco and essentially to TJ Moore, but then he said not just a couple days, but a couple weeks. So what does that mean, man? Just looking at this recruiting class right now, I mean, you got at the top number 5-star, you know, Sammy Brown, Bryant Wesco, Christian Bentaker, TJ Moore. Right, defensive lineman, Heaven Brown Schuler, cornerback Tavoy Fagan, right, safety Noah Dixon, defensive lineman Champ Thompson. First of all, that's a great name for a defensive lineman, Champ Thompson, David Ezuomi, Ezio Mumi. I cannot. I'm struggling with this kid's last name, but you know, linebacker. You know, it's a 3-star kid, Drew Woodeds, and then a kicker, 3-star kicker, Nolan Hauser. The point is that this class, to go from 11 to 4, I'm telling you now, the bus is not stopping, guys. We have more to come. There is more to come. And I'm believing that, yes, Sammy Brown was a big part of that, but Bryant Wesco as well. These guys are going to be doing their own recruitments of other recruits across the nation in their own schools, all of it. Social media is so big to where these kids, They know each other. Hey, you got 48,000 followers. They link up. They train together. All these different things. They may have the same off-season trainer and coach, depending on if they were playing the same position. All I'm saying to you guys is this: I'm excited. I'm excited for this 2024 class to continue to get better. Because, I mean, dare I say, what did they? What's the famous quote from Dumb and Dumber? There's probably a lot. It's a lot of them. But what's the famous quote? So you're telling me there's a chance? Why I say that is you're telling me there's a chance that Clemson can rise even further, get to 3, 2, maybe even the top spot, right? And be the kings of recruiting. I mean, I've seen Texas A&M do it. I've seen Texas A&M do it. Why can't Clemson? Why not us? We can. Clemson can do it. So I'm excited again to see how this 2024 class continues to take shape and take form, because Dabo Swinney is doing the darn thing, ladies and gentlemen. But guys, you're talking about doing the thing. You know what we do at the closeout shows? We are on the prowl. Recruiting doesn't just stop. This is a full recruiting podcast today, guys, but we are getting into the 2025 class. Number 1 offensive tackle is already on the radar, and Clemson is on the prowl. And we're going to talk about him coming up next. On the prowl, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with the number 1 offensive tackle. Listen, ESPN, Rivals, 24/7 Sports. David Sanders, offensive tackle, 6'6", 255 pounds. He's actually a little lighter, but I think he's dropped some weight as of recently. But excuse me, long day. But yes, we have David Sanders, 6'6", 255. And guys, listen to me. Out of Charlotte, North Carolina, ESPN, Rivals, 24/7 Sports. He is the number 1 overall recruit for 24/7, the number 1 overall tackle, and the number 1 overall recruit out of North Carolina. For Rivals, he's the number 1 overall recruit out of North Carolina, number 1 offensive tackle, and the 2nd overall prospect. And that's the exact same for ESPN. 2nd overall recruit, number 1 overall tackle, and the number 1 overall recruit out of North Carolina. And the crazy thing about it is this young man, he said he's talking about the fact that he's extremely honored and blessed to receive that offer and chasing, and like I said, again, on the prowl, going after these guys that are extremely talented and is going to give you a lot. He reports that he already has over 30 offers currently. And I'm not surprised, because when you turn on the tape, you see an athletically gifted kid with a high ceiling, right? Physical, has the good movement skills, like the athleticism, not just like sort of straight line, but like lateral agility. Like I said, 6'5", but they say he has been measured out at his arm stretch over 36 inches in high school. You know what that sounds like to me? It sounds like a top 10 pick. That's what it sounds like. Because the NFL, when he gets to the NFL or gets to college, and he jumps from 255 to 305, 315, and he has 36, maybe 37-inch arms, and maybe he grows another inch to 6'6", teams are going to be all over this kid. But then you think about what he's able to do. He's able to add, he's on the lighter side right now, but he has time to add on mass and bulk and muscle. But he's already strong. He can power clean 335 pounds. I always talk about it. From a draft standpoint, Mike Mayock, when he was he's a former GM of the Las Vegas Raiders, and he used to be on NFL Network as one of their draft gurus and their guys. And he will always talk about bigger linemen and call them dancing bears. And when that's what you think about, of having a 6'5", 300+ pound guy that has nimble, light feet. They can move laterally, turn their hips, and change directions and all of that stuff. But also, really play with physicality as well in the run game and move bodies and really get guys out of displaced guys and put them, on their back, right? And you see that. You see that explosiveness, and you don't want to just be explosive from the waist up. You want to have a lower body explosiveness because that's what really gives you, just like boxing, guys, just like boxing, right? You always hear power comes from the legs, right? We saw Tank Davis basically drop Ryan Garcia about a month or so ago with that body shot, right? But that power didn't just come from the body shot from his arm. It came from his legs. The base is key. So having an explosive base allows you to fire off the ball, explode, into your defender, get your hands on, drive and displace guys, and put them in the dirt and create pancakes and create rushing lanes, a seal in the alley. Give me that all day as a former running back. I absolutely love it. So I'm telling you guys now, looking at this young man, like I said, yes, he's a 2025 recruit. I don't care because at the end of the day, getting a guy like this, and it's going to be an all-out war, an all-out battle to secure him. When you have over 30 offers, when you are already viewed as the top prospect, the top recruit, teams are going to line up for your services. So now you got to figure out, what can we do? How do we leverage ourselves? And how do we secure this kid? Because if we fast forward a year from right now and David Sanders commits to Clemson, man, oh man, what a day that would be. But we got to finish this. We got to finish this strong. This is a young man that has the mental ability to rebound, right? You think back, reading about his 9th grade year before his freshman campaign. It was derailed by a femur injury. So this young man, he rebounded as a sophomore, and he was the anchor for his high school, Providence Day program. He was the anchor of the left side of that offensive line, and that helped them win their first state title in 10 years. In 10 years. So he's 255 right now. I would not be surprised after, again, peak game, he's going into his junior year. Keep that note. He is 6'6", 255 going into his junior year. I would not be surprised if he's 290 by senior year and he's rocked up, you know what I mean? And he's just muscular built. He might be one of those tackles who was a Tyron Smith from when he was with the USC Trojans and he's with the Dallas Cowboys. Be rocking the crop top because he's got the abs. You're not the average offensive tackle and left tackle. No, he's built and chiseled like a Greek god. So this kid could absolutely. He has 2 more years of college football, junior and senior, where he can build his body where he needs it to be and feel comfortable with it. Guys, I'm telling you right now, on the Prowl. Listen, I need Dabo Swinney and them to get this kid to commit a year from now. But again, that's a year from now. But I wanted to put him on your radar, family. I wanted you guys to know about him because he's an extremely talented kid, highly touted, highly regarded, and for good reason. Like I said, over 36-inch arms on the length of the arms as a junior, as going into his junior year. This kid might walk out of high school with 38s. He might walk into the NFL with 38-inch arms and a 7'6" wingspan or something crazy like that. But listen, guys, I've had a great time chopping it up with y'all, man, and telling you, like I said, moving on up big time 48 hours for the Clemson Tigers in the recruiting atmosphere. And that helped them move up from the 11th spot to the 4th spot nationally, guys. And like I said, David Sanders, jot the name down. Offensive tackle 1 right now for the 2025 class, guys. And we're still working to solidify and try to get that number 1 spot in the 2024 class for Dabo Swinney to have as much talent on his roster for years and years and years to come, guys. But as always, I appreciate y'all. And I tell you all the time, you are my Clemson football family, and I love y'all. I appreciate y'all for making Locked On Clemson your first listen today and every day, Monday through Friday, being my everydayers, man. And listen, go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts to get the latest episode as soon as it's available. Thank y'all again for tapping in with me. Thank you for all the love you're showing me on the YouTube. I appreciate y'all big time, man. So tap in with me again later on this week. I'm gonna bring another episode to you. We're gonna talk about some Clemson football players former Clemson football players that's in the NFL. How are they doing in OTAs and minicamp? We're going to discuss that later on this week, baby. I got more coming to you. Listen, in terms of Twitter, you can find me and follow me there at DP_NFL. Listen, come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Go Tigers.